Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the KV-4 review, the Russian tier 8 heavy tank. So, a lot of you gave me shit about not liking the KV-3. I say fuck you, you're wrong, the KV-3 is shit. If you did better in the KV-3 than you did in the IS, it's probably your gameplay. You most likely died too fast in the IS, you drove too much forwards because the tank was too fast for you. Because KV-3 is shit. KV-4, however, is a different story. You bump up one tier, which is bad, obviously. You rather stay at a lower tier, but you can't deal anything about it. But you get plus 50% all-around armor, and in some spots even more. You get 150 side armor, which is ridiculous. 150, German tanks don't get that till the mouse. Most German tanks sit around 100 side armor. This is 150 at tier 8. It's retarded. Frontal 180 upper, comparing to the KV-3. KV-3's upper plate was 120, I think. So that's again 50% increase. And lower plate 160, which is also not that bad. Third armor 180 as well. Third armor is the weakest link on this tank. Weak spot on the top is as strong as the turret's one, but there's a flat part here that is quite easy to pen. The parts that are angled are really not gonna pen, but if people hit the flat part here, then can easily pen. Weak spots on the hull, obvious. 80, not a lot of armor here at all. And this machine gun port as well. However, you can angle the shit out of the KV-4. Since you have this side armor, you don't have to be side scraping, you don't have to hug a corner to be effective in this tank. This armor can bounce, like, you can reliably angle this towards guns like 230. Let's see if we can get all the hull, like 230, 250. Okay, this side is 230. 230 proof, and so is the front, as you can see. 240. Okay, lower plate 220. So you can't get 230 plus on angled hull, but you can get 220 plus easy. So a KV-4 can be angled not like a KV-3. We can see the KV-3 in the same position. Let's look at the KV-3. Okay, this is tier 7, 130, 150, 140. This is utter shit. This is not armor. This is dead weight. KV-4. Where you all come back. KV-4, this is all armor, this is useful, and the best part is the power to weight ratio on the KV-4 is actually better than on the KV-3. Third armor, 180 frontal, completely flat. Well, there's some angles here, but it's mostly flat. You can angle it as well, though. You can get 220 plus on the turret as well if you angle it a bit more, not this much, but no, this is too much. Where are you? Something like this. So 212, 210. So on the turret you can get around 210 when it's slightly angled, and same goes for the top. 220, 213, 193. Well, the turret is the weakest part of the KV-4, but this is still much better than the KV-3 was. But yeah, that's enough said about the armor. Let's get into the replay and see how it performs in the game. So Plague Mines encounter. The first rule of KV-4, if you want to have an epic monster game, you need a tier 8 matchmaking. This tank fades out drastically when you begin to face tier 9s and 10s. It can still be useful, but you can't compare this to, for instance, an IS-3 when you're in tier 10 game. This tank is gonna feel a bit lackluster. The armor, you can still side scrape. With 150 armor, you can still side scrape, hope that your enemies don't shoot your turret, and you can take a lot of potential and still be really useful for your team. But dishing out damage, rolling into people's faces, that's what you really want to do in the KV-4. That's what I'm going to try to do in this one. Encounter on mines is really good because it forces people to come to this corner, and it is really good for slow and big tanks like the KV-4. There's, like, if I want to meet enemies in close range that this gun kind of needs with the bad aiming time, I need to go here and I need to just wait, sit in the cap, make them come at me, and good luck penning me. So, the gun on the KV-4 is 107mm ZIS 24, 320 average damage with 227 penetration, which is pretty damn good actually. It's among the best tier 8 penetration. Accuracy 0.38, which is not bad for tier 8 Russian heavy, I guess. Rate of fire 5.41 rounds per minute. Gun depression -6, which is pretty bad. Well, no, it's not that bad, but the thing you will find is that the KV-4 is too tall to be able to shoot down on some enemies. And aiming time 3.4 seconds, which is really bad for a gun with this lousy alpha damage. The closest thing in the game to the KV-4 tier 8 is probably the Tiger 2. It gets less armor, but it gets increased mobility, it gets better DPM, it gets better gun overall, it aims faster, it's way more accurate. But the KV-4 has its own qualities. The armor overall is so much better than on anything else at tier 8. It's just ridiculous how much armor this thing carries and how reasonably mobile it is for all of the armor it carries. Not like a KV-3, which is just carrying dead weight around that doesn't really help it to survive, but it just slows it down a lot. And yeah, you can also were able to see why you should never play the Ferdinand and always choose the Yak Panther 2. It's just the same shit. Well, the Yak Panther is the same armor, but it's so much faster. And this is pretty bad. I don't know why, but I thought I couldn't see the hull of the IS-3, but I clearly can. I realized my mistake. The IS-3 is still tracked, and I hopefully can plant another shot into him. And make up for my mistake by tracking him again, and now he's pretty much dead there. So equipment I'm using on the KV-4 is rammer, vert stabs, and I think I'm using ventilation. You can use gun leg drive, but what I found is that the gun leg drive would be good if you didn't have, if you were like medium range tank, but this tank is not medium range. This is close range in your face kind of vehicle. It can deal medium range for combat as well, pretty good, but you'd rather be in the face of your enemy because the gun is not very accurate, the aiming time is shit to begin with, so you'd rather be close to your enemies. KV-4 is a really good breach, that is for a fact. It's one of the best tanks to just push into your enemies' faces. Even if your armor doesn't hold out, you can still have a lot of hit points, and you really have to tank in this tank. Tank in this tank with this tank while playing World of Tanks. But yeah, KV-4 is excellent breach. It's excellent for defending as well, just like Tiger 2. You can just take a corner and side scrape the shit out of it, and whoever wants to come and force you, fight you, they will have to load those gold rounds. It's kind of silly sometimes when you see, like, for instance, a Super Pershing trying to pain you. You can clearly see the moment when he was like, well, fuck it, let's load the gold rounds. It's so obvious as well. It's kind of funny at some points where you can see, like, bounce, 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 and then everything starts to penetrate you because gold ammo. Well, premium ammo, whatever. KV-4 is a really good tank to start to learn how to angle. At tier 8, there's no better tank to do it with. This kind of armor for tier 8 is like unseen. No other tank even gets close to it. The Tiger 2 that gets closest to it has 80 side armor, and it's almost 2 times less than this tank has, with 150, as I have stated 3 times before. Well, not 3 times, probably like 10 times before, but it's just so impressive at tier 8 to have this much side armor that it's not even funny. Like, here, I have no threats. Tier 6s can't pen this. Even like back of this is like, what, 90? Oh, the back of this tank. Only place where this tank doesn't get the 50% increased armor is the ass. And here you can see what is the difference when you have dynamic camera and when you don't. Like, I should probably start using there's quite a bit of mods that improve your gameplay with dynamic camera, and here play bad again. Shoot the shot. I should have stopped to shoot that shot, or at least I should have put that one in the track, but here I'll pick up for my mistakes again. Stop, aim at the track him, and he doesn't have a repair kit, so it's GG for more or less for the Yak Tiger now. Does that mean that the KV-4 is gonna be epic on every map? Short answer, no. Long answer, no. KV-4 suffers a lot from bad map draw, I guess you can call it, and bad matchmaking, obviously. KV-4 doesn't like the big open maps with no cover, no corners, no buildings. It really excels at city maps. It excels at maps where most of the combat is in close range. And on most maps you can find those spots. Some maps are really bad for it, like Sand River, for instance, is one of the probably worst maps to get. Kampinovka is also pretty bad, but you can find most of the maps have spots where to put this tank, but matchmaking really can influence this tank a lot. Having tier 10 games, like, your armor becomes almost dead weight. You can still side scrape. 150 armor is nothing to laugh about even at tier 10, but the thing is that your frontal armor is gonna get overmatched by the 250, 260 penetration, and then you're gonna feel like a KV-3 once again. But when the KV-4 works, it can be hilarious, it can be troll as fuck, and it can be actually fun to play, which is kind of weird. Whatever. So here's the end plate. Ace tanker, obviously. High caliber steel wall, 5046 experience with the double, 1486 assistance, 5153 damage done. KV-3 is kind of a mixed bag of emotions for me. I don't like the playstyle of the slow and well armored tanks, but I can feel the strengths of this tank. I can feel why it's so powerful, why people like to play it, why people actually consider playing it like for fun and not like the KV-3, which was just shitty IS. And why would you ever play that when you can play the actual IS or the IS2? They're quite similar. But yeah, the KV-4, it suffers a lot in like fast games. It suffers a lot because of the poor DPM. It suffers a lot because usually you're too late for the party. It suffers a lot when you go to one flank, you don't find anybody there, and then you're too late to save or clean up on the other flank. It suffers a lot from mobility, from its bad mobility. But if you like the kind of playstyle, you can consider buying KV-4. You can consider grinding it. More reviews on this line coming soon, since that is the one of the last lines I'm actually grinding in this game. Before we end, cruise code-wise, obviously repairs over camo or anything else. Really, 610 smooth ride, clutch braking, all the good stuff. Really. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the KV-4 grind, KV-4 review, and I'll see you on the next one.